one, and I want to thank everyone for joining. From time to time, the Super Sports Bros have former athletes on and coaches from the sports and sports figures around the world to join the show and to tell their story and give comments on the game they played, along with discussing current events. Today, we are joined by former NHL player and collegiate player John Blum. In the NHL, John played for the Edmonton Oilers, Boston Bruins, Washington Capitals, and Detroit Red Wings. He also coached and played for many of the teams in the AHL. Along with that, he also won a Calder Cup with the Wings minor league affiliate. In college, John played and was a stellar player for the University of Michigan hockey team. Um, Before that, at the high school level, John played at Notre Dame Harper Woods, formerly now known as Notre Dame Prep. He also played with his lifelong friend and prominent criminal defense attorney, Mike Rataj. These two intense men have known each other on and off the ice for since the age of 9. In fact, they are both retired from the game of hockey, but enjoy a plethora of have enjoyed a plethora of life experiences as a result of playing hockey throughout their lives. I want to welcome both men to the show and thank both of them for joining with and giving their time today and joining us. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Antonio.
Yeah.
No problem. No problem. Well, to start off, I kind of want to know about both of your guys' origins. My first question to both of you is that, is that did you guys meet or on the ice and in your youth? Mike was telling me a couple days ago you guys met when you guys were 9. When did you guys meet? Was it on or off the ice?
On the ice.
We played against each other.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is going
okay.
way back. We both started out in the Warren Hockey Association,
Okay.
which doesn't exist anymore. But at that
Yeah.
time in Warren, I mean, shit, there were tons of kids that played hockey.
You were the Radke Bees, right?
Yeah,
He was Radke Bees. I was on the Dodge Chargers.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
Nice. Nice.
Way back.
And
It's
our
hard.
home rink when we started was in Port Huron, Michigan at McMorran Arena.
Yeah, we didn't have a
Okay.
rink anymore.
We had to drive every weekend. Our parents drove us there.
And we used to
Nice.
practice.
Bless their hearts.
We used to practice in Tecumseh, Ontario. There was a rink called St.
It
Clair.
was $20 or $22 an hour.
Yeah, St. Clair.
Oh, wow,
Beach
that's-
Arena, which doesn't exist
In
anymore.
Iceland Arena, 15 in Crooks.
Yeah.
They had a rink there.
Yeah, and the old Detroit Skating Club.
Yeah, skating club.
Not the one you guys know,
They
because
were
you're all
called
fancy.
the Detroit Flair. Yeah, there was only a handful of indoor rinks when we started. Winter Wonderland. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going back.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. That's.
You're going back to the late 60s here. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's crazy. I mean, I honestly
Simpler times.
so. Speaking of simpler times, playing for Notre Dame Harper Woods, what was it like to play with the likes of David Collier? And my question for you, both of you guys, is to back that up, is was he funnier now or in high school?
What do you think?
I don't know. We can't. They might.
Dave's the same.
Yeah.
He did all his imitations. We met Dave Collier. He had a W in his name when he started. He dropped the W when he went to Hollywood. Coulier, like a French sounding thing. But we know Mr. and Mrs. Collier. Mr. Collier was his dad, so there was a W. Now it's Coulier.
We still call him Collier. We don't call him.
Yeah. And he was as funny. He did imitations for the morning announcements at school. He could.
Oh, that's cool.
You wouldn't know if the teacher was on or it was him. Yeah, he imitated every teacher. He knows how to do us. He imitates my dad. He hears somebody imitates. It's a gift. It's truly a gift. Yes.
Definitely. It's really cool that you played with him along with Mike. I knew Dave went to Notre Dame Harper Woods, and I think he came back for an event. It was a choir event, and he was talking about it. But I never, I knew he played hockey, but never knew he played with the likes of you or Mike. That's such a small world, considering that I'm a Notre Dame Prep graduate. I know it's two different schools, but small world, and great institution. I guess we can all agree on that. That's for sure.
I mean, it's changed now, obviously, Antonio, as you know. I think our senior year in high school, which would have been 76, 77, I believe the tuition was $600.
And hockey was
wow.
included. Hockey was included.
Yeah. And in those days, they didn't have AAA hockey like they have, you know, like they have now. So
Yeah.
if you were any good, you basically played high school hockey. All the high schools had great teams. All three St. Clair Shores high schools had great teams. Fraser had a good team. Catholic Central was good. Ann Arbor Pioneer, Ann Arbor Huron were good.
Cranbrook
was good.
Cranbrook's still good, sadly.
It was pretty crazy.
But no, there was no AAA hockey. So if you were a good hockey player, you played high school. That's the way
Definitely.
it had to work.
Okay.
If only it was still like that today.
Yeah.
But
Then Notre Dame wouldn't have to partner.
there was a lot of we practiced every day.
Okay.
After school. One year we practiced before school at 6 a.m. in the morning, but our juniors.
I remember those days.
We're on the ice. We were on the ice every day, and our fathers liked that. Him and both our fathers liked that. We were on the ice practicing, so that was cool.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
we were always on the ice.
Everything was included though. The $600 was tuition, and it paid for your hockey. Now these kids are playing AAA. It cost them $20,000 to play AAA hockey. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
Ludicrous.
When I coached
Yeah.
little U18 team, the last year I coached, it was $7,500 a kid. Now that was in 2012, and now it's fucking like he said, cost you 20 fucking grand to play hockey.
And that's unbelievable. I still can't believe people that play that much. And that was really cool that, tuition was included with the hockey. John, you played in an era of hockey that has been studied and arguably could be said as the greatest era of hockey of all time. You played with likes of the stars of like Gordie Howe towards the end of his career. Wayne Gretzky played, in Edmonton in years. And there's actually a famous video of you hitting Wayne Gretzky. I guess, my question to you is, what was it like to play in that era where you're playing against the great one, per se?
Well, you look back when you played against him, nobody was great. We didn't look at him like that. Now you look back and go, wow, he's pretty good. I played against Mario Lemieux in his first game in the Boston Garden opening night. It was 80-45. First time he touched the puck, his first shift. Ray Bork started and played right D. Mario pokes check him, goes in and scores on a breakaway. First time he touched the puck. And to look back now, and Mike Bossy, 9 years in a row, 50 goals. Guys, Rad and I saw, growing up, Bobby Clark, I had to play Bill Barber, a lot of their guys at the end of the career was really cool. We knew Gordie Howe from being around town, but I never played. I was a little after him, a couple years after him. But to look back and see, how Mark Messier, I was married to his sister for 10 years, so he's a great hockey player. You can just go on and like everybody thinks their era was the greatest. So it's just different now. It's faster.
Definitely.
The penalties are different. It's same with every sport. It's a whole different. Rules are different. Technology's different. Training methods are different.
Yeah.
The sticks make the game a lot faster.
Yeah.
You play with wooden sticks. But even when we were playing senior hockey with these composite sticks, you could be in your like 60 years old and I could still fire the fucking puck. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah.
And he still drives the golf ball like 280. He still can hit it pretty good for him. Yeah.
We're going to be 66.
Yeah. But he's going to be 66 in April. I'm going to be 66 September. So he's a little older than I.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Of all our buddies, my birthday is sorry about that. Yeah, my birthday is September 8th, and Dave's is September 21st. We're the youngsters out of them, but
yeah. That's awesome. Now, I mean, go back to that era where you're talking about Gretzky. Did it seem like at the time that he was protected? Because I watched the tail end of that where you hit him. It was a clean hit by all means, but then you got bombarded, and then you actually got a penalty on that play. And do you think like he was protected?
Of course he was protected. not only he was protected, but in the old days, there was only one referee, two sets of eyes, and the players took justice into their own hands. So I knew when I hit Gretzky, I had to fight Don Jackson and McClellan, and you just when you did something like that, that's just how it went. And I'll say it on tape. Donnie Jackson was a roommate of mine in Wichita the year
Oh,
before.
wow.
I got traded, and he gets called out there after I hit Gretzky. He goes, "Hey, Blummer, I got to go ya." And I go, "Okay, I know it." And he goes, "Hit shoulder pads." So I'll put it on tape right now. Yeah, I kind of faked the fight in National Hockey League with my best friend. So it looked pretty real. We grabbed each other. We threw some punches. We threw each other down. And they show us the penalty box with big smiles on our faces. Yeah, I faked the fight. Yeah, okay, so I think
Yeah.
here's my attorney. So I think I don't think they could charge me anymore.
I don't think they can either.
I don't know. So that was the only
Now,
one.
with you being, traveling to so many diverse places, we talked about where you played Edmonton, Boston, Washington, and Detroit, and then even in the AHL and the minors. What was your favorite place to play at? And, subsequently, where was your favorite place to coach at?
My favorite place Boston Boston was an unbelievable sports city, and in the 80s, the Celtics dressed right across the hall. They had Larry, but they were winning championships. The Patriots went to the Super Bowl. When we were there, they got bombed by Chicago. The Red Sox, that ground ball went through Bill Buckner's legs. They could have won a World Series. And the cool part about it, there was no social media back then. So those guys would come in our locker room, we go in their locker room. Like everybody, we were all a bunch of kids, 25. Everybody support everybody, and I became a big fan. I always loved every sport. I was there when Michael Jordan got 63 points. I sat right on the floor behind the Chicago bench. I was there when Larry Bird stole the ball on that inbound pass. It was funny seeing Jack Nicholson at the games, when he did that, he's going like this in the crowd, hocus pocus.
Yeah.
And it was a different era.
Yeah.
The players were like, you're all a bunch of kids having fun. Ricky Carlisle, he was like an extra, he was down the depth chart on the Celtics. He's coaching the Indiana Pacers now. Rick Carlisle.
Yeah.
He coached the Pistons for a while. So he was a hell of a nice guy. But it's funny. That's 40 years ago. We're 25 now. We're 65. So it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
The game's changed. Everything's changed. We had a lot of fun. And the different part now is that we flew commercial. So we had,
Okay.
after the game, we had to conquer every city. We just have to make it on a plane, and nobody worried about back-to-backs, and nobody worried, we just, it was all part of the game. Nobody complained, "Oh, we're playing too many games in too many days." And our first playoff series, back, it was best of 5. And we would play 2 at home if we had home ice, 1 day off, and 2 in Montreal. So we played 4 games in 5 nights, and nobody thought, because that was the norm. Now they got about rest and hydrate, eat, and there's a whole different gamut going on now. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, players nowadays are, the training and the hydration and then the nutrition is like, it's studied. It's crazy how physically specimens these guys are. And, you talked about it earlier, and like when you hit Gretzky and you knew there was going to be backlash, do you feel, because like the tough guy and the enforcer today in the NHL has obviously changed, do you feel the league is safer because of those changes and just the way the players are going about it? Or do you feel that like, people now who can look at these guys and there's no, kickback from these players if you hit a Crosby, and you get plays like the Anaheim Ducks, Trevor Zegras suspended 3 games for an interference that wasn't called against Michael Rasmussen. Do you feel like that these plays are in result of the tough guys not being able to fight against, the star players?
I think one of the problems is when we were kids, we didn't have masks, and I played against guys in the league that didn't have helmets. And subconsciously, when you go in the corner with a guy, you're keeping everything down. With the cages, they have and the sticks are so light. Kids don't control their sticks. That there isn't the justice that when the ref would miss something and he said, "I owe you one." I remember Claude Lemieux tried some dirty stuff to me, and the referee says, "Hey, Blummer, you get a free pass." So I went up to him and cross-checked right in the mouth, and he looked the other way. I was killing Billy. So it was really different. The, the really, really good teams, like the Capitals, they still got that guy, or that two guys, or that three guys. Tom Wilson, nobody wants to mess with him. Jacob Chikrin's a big two. You go to the playoffs, it turns into a heavy game. That teams are heavy. That's the new word. Heavy's the new word instead of big and tough. It's heavy teams. The
Big
terminology
boned.
changed, but
Yeah.
it's it's still the same.
They just don't have a
Okay.
guy sit on the end of the bench and didn't get a shift until he got a tug and said, go out there and somebody's acting up. Go take
You got to
care of
play.
it.
Yeah.
You got to be able to play the game now. You got to play four lines. The speed of the game. Four Nations got everybody playing four lines. Play 16 play. Yeah, you don't have the luxury to sit that guy and tap him on the shoulder and say, "Go get him." You know what I mean? So, and
Yeah.
you don't want to be that guy anyway. You don't want to be that guy anyway.
Definitely. I mean, you look at like players like, for instance, like the tough guy book, Bob Probert, like he obviously wasn't that just that standard tough guy sat in the end of the bench. But it's very interesting that you need to now play the game. And I do agree. I think people are getting a little wild with their sticks. They are lighter. And I mean, they're easier to shoot. So I think it is a changing game. And one of my questions is, do you think since like there is a lot more cheap shots, like you look at that Mark Strome taking out a guy's shin pads, probably really damaging his career. Do you think there's going to be a resurgence in this tough guy mentality, or did it just morph into something where these guys are now able to play and fight?
Well, here's the Rasmussen incident, for instance. In the old days, you know what? Keep your head up.
Yeah.
If they didn't see it then, they weren't going to see it later. They weren't looking at tape and giving a kid 3 games. The things I don't like are the knee-to-knee contact, like hurting somebody.
Yeah.
A move, a terrible, terrible move that when somebody did it to me, which happened a couple of times, I went batshit crazy. When I'm going to the puck in the corner and I'm facing the boards, and somebody took their back the tip of their stick and put it into your calf, put you off balance. That was dirty. You could have broke your freaking neck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That stuff. Back in the 70s, 80s, there were some guys that threw butt ends. I mean, you had to be really dirty. Your stick was a weapon.
Okay.
It was heavy. You had places to chop guys right here. On breakaways, you chop. Now you knock a guy's stick out of hands penalty. Like protecting the quarterback. So like I said, it's the Four Nations was really good to see those guys. That's the way hockey should be played. So
Definitely.
Given
Definitely.
that, I mean,
Grab
Four
in the old
Nation.
days. When you're going in for a forecheck, a defenseman would just basically get in your way and play you, and take you out of the play. Or you'd start back checking and someone's grabbing your jersey and you're trying to skate away and someone's got your, So, Mario Lemieux was a big advocate of basically turning the game into what it is today. Because he didn't like all that crap.
Yeah. When I got traded to the Bruins, my partner was Ray Bourne. So they threw the puck in the corner. He went into both corners, got it, and I could swim with the guy. I could stick him, I could interfere, I could almost haul him down. So Ray had time to get the puck and break it out. It was just different. Like Brad said, everything was a cut. You had to fight for every inch ice. Not only fight for it, you had to fight through a hole, a hook, or it was just the way the game was played.
Yeah.
They call it water skiing. When you ski next to the guy.
Yeah.
It's different. I think sometimes, and Mickey Redmond says it, he goes, "I can't believe that's a penalty." They chop a guy. Hold your stick. If you're not going to stick out of the guy's hand, it's because he wasn't holding it hard enough. So
Yeah, we never,
Exactly.
that was never a penalty in
Yeah.
the game we were playing. You know,
Yeah.
it was routine to chop a stick out of a guy's hand. And like John said, if he wasn't holding it tight enough, that's on
that's
him.
your fault. That's not your fault. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you get they chop a guy's stick and it's a fucking penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Evan, you had some questions for John?
I was gonna say, John, given that you already referred to Four Nations, do you think they'll make this a mainstay, or do you think they'll expand it to? Because I mean, we didn't see the Czechs or the Russians, and I mean they're very prominent in the league as a whole. I mean, is there more expansion, or are they going to just keep it to four?
I think next year's the Olympics, so that
They won't have it next year.
and the pros get to play in the Olympics. I think the National Hockey League would hit a home run with it. Not only because you got the NBA, their All-Star game. It's a victory. The Silver was pissed off last year. He was embarrassed the effort these guys put in. The old guys, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, all those guys, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, they played hard in these games. They can't get these guys to play hard. They can't get them to play 80-some games. I think they could just sit back for a while in the Olympics and plan something different. And I was listening to Larkin on the ticket, and he had a real good comment because there was the World Championships in the spring when guys lose out, and it's not championships isn't like the juniors, the World Juniors in the middle of the year. The World Championships in the spring, and a lot of guys that lose out don't go. And Larkin had a good point. Like, if we want to get back into international, the guys should go to the World Championships to get more exposure. It was good for the game. It turned out a lot of hockey fans. Obviously, the Kachuk brothers, started. That's a real old-time hockey. And
Yeah.
it got everybody was talking about. Listen, they were talking about it on Good Morning America, the Today Show, all the news, CNN, everything had the start of the game. So it's good for hockey. Gary Bettman's done a great job, I think. Gary Bettman's done an unbelievable job. It's not an easy job. So,
I mean, yeah, that fight was the talk of the town. I mean, to dive deep into it and realize that the brothers planned it too was even more funny to see.
The problem with the Four Nations, I think that for the teams that are fighting for a playoff spot, a lot of guys got hurt. Theodore got hurt.
Yeah.
Chuck now got a McAvoy. McAvoy hurt his shoulder. Now he's got a blood clot. He's done for the year. So I think that's going to be taken into consideration if they're going to do it again, because you can't afford it. Because hockey players only know one speed. Okay, it doesn't matter. When we played senior ball for years and years, and it would be complete warfare for a case of fucking beer. Okay, that's just the nature of hockey players. So they're not going to have speed. In a game like that when you're wearing your country's colors, right? So they got to think about it, because you got guys now that really are key to their teams who cannot play during this playoff push towards the end of the season. So we'll see. But like John said, next year you got the Olympics, so it's really not in the mix. Yeah.
With that playoff push too, being that a Canadian team hasn't won it since the 90s, will it happen in our lifetime? I mean,
well,
the last time was Montreal in 93. Will it finally push through?
The Oilers, they got to figure it out.
Toronto might have a chance this year. This is the best Toronto team that they've had that I've seen.
Yeah.
So they might have a chance.
Vancouver had a great year last year. Now they might not make the playoffs. Calgary's in a bit of a rebuild, but they're competitive again.
We like out of the West. Ottawa? Okay.
We like Ottawa. I mean, they're not going to win the Stanley Cup, but we like their team. Him and I both talk about it all the time. We like some of the young guys that they have.
Well, Brady Kachuk played great. Sanderson played great.
Yeah.
They got some old guys.
They got Chabot.
They got some. He's really good. They traded for a number one goalie, Allmark. They got him from the Bruins. I like their team. They're up and coming. You just got to keep going.
Yeah. I think, out of all the Canadian teams, the team that surprised us this year, and I think could have a good shot, especially with their goaltender, Connor Hellebuyck and the Winnipeg Jets. I could see them making a far run. The problem is that they haven't successfully in the past couple years made it past the second round. Evan and I were talking about that on a previous episode, but Yeah, no, I think Canada this year is probably has a better shot than any other year in the
Last year
NHL.
too, but
Okay.
Well, I like your. I think Winnipeg's a really good team. Him and I we like Winnipeg too.
Fast.
They're fast. They're heavy. They move the puck. They play a simple game. They get the puck to the net, and they play off the rebounds and stuff like that. Not a lot of passing. So
Yeah.
I I I I really believe the parity in hockey is this year. We talk like 6 or 8 teams could win the cup. There's no clear cut. I mean, God forbid you win the President's Trophy, you lose.
Yeah.
It's a death almost. So
I was gonna say the Capitals right now are on pace to win the Presidents with chasing history Ovi. Do you think if and when he does it, it will cement him as the great one, or is that still Gretzky?
listen, I'm going to ask you guys a trivia question. Who's the greatest goal scorer of all time?
Gretzky.
Gretzky.
you
Look this up after. The greatest
Okay.
goal scorer of all time is Mike Bossy. Mike Bossy got 50 goals like 8, 9 years in a row. He's the greatest goal scorer of all time.
Okay.
We'll look out for the Islanders. He won 4 cups in a row.
he didn't screw his knee up.
It's back. Yeah. He just died of lung cancer a year ago. Mike Bossy is the greatest. If you talk to anybody that played or anybody that played in the era, you don't get 50 goals 9 years in a row. Mike Gardner was another really good goal scorer. He scored 30 a bunch of years in a row, but
We're from the era
So
of
do you-
Gordie Howe still. Gordie Howe still the goat.
yeah,
Okay. So you guys don't think it's even Wayne?
He was number 9 and I was number 4.
Yeah.
So think about that. Yeah, he was 9. But in the old days, like these kids, there's too many distractions. We both coach. They can't see out here because they have their nose in this phone all the time. They have no peripheral vision. They have no vision at all. Their eyes aren't trained. And it's funny to see, their eye. We didn't have any of this. We had to figure it out. We watched a lot of hockey. We imitated. We put on the numbers of our idols. Kids aren't into it. It's unbelievable.
It's sad.
They don't follow it. They don't. He coached somebody. Rat coached somebody a few years back. That the kid didn't know who Bobby Orr was.
I made him write a 10-page paper, single spaced.
Yeah.
And his dad called me up and he says, "Well, you're here to coach." I was coaching Little Caesars U18 team.
Yeah.
And his dad called me up and he says, "Well, why does my kid got to write a 10-page paper?" I said, "Because I fucking said so." And I said, he doesn't know who Bobby Orr is. He's got no business playing on my hockey team. So
Rightfully so.
Yeah. Paper or he's not going to play. So you decide.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though. I mean, it's like one of those things that you look at, like hockey legends or Gordy, the greatest goal scorer you guys said. I mean, there is so many discrepancies. We talk about a young star in Connor McDavid. What do you think his career is going to pan out? Do you think it's like, what's the ceiling for him? Do you think he could touch those greats like Gretzky? Or do you think it's going to be like a Sidney Crosby kind of copycat?
It all depends what measurement you use. Do you want to measure championships?
Okay.
Here's a little. My former brother-in-law, Mark Messier.
Okay.
He won 2 cups without Wayne Gretzky. Gretzky never won a cup. Gretzky's got 4. Mark's got 6. He won one with Edmonton in New York. So, how do you define great? Is it by stats? Is it by playoffs? Is it by championships? Aaron Rodgers, 4 MVPs, 1 Super Bowl. Lee Bradshaw, 4 Super Bowl. This is why they have debates. This is why there's First Take, the Pat McAfee show, because they just go on and on about this stuff.
We like PTI.
Yeah.
We like PTI.
We like Tony and we like Mike Wilbon. Yeah, because they're our age.
Tony's older than us, but Wilbon's our age. And, I mean, we love watching
we
that.
can talk sport. Sports is real. They keep score. With how society is and all the stuff that's going on, sports is like real. You look at the score, you talk, you debate. we watch the golf tournament. We study everything, and that
Yeah.
this that big golfer that went into overtime, Holt or something. We nicknamed him Poltergeist. So he's our new
Okay.
guy. 20 years old. But when you love sports, it's fun to talk about. You get excited,
Yeah.
and it just with all the stuff that's going on in this world. And I'm not going to even go there. Sports
Yeah.
is real, man. It's good.
It
We love
is.
basketball. Look at the Pistons, man. The Pistons are on.
They're doing
8 in a
great.
row, man. They kicked the shit out of the Celtics last night. It was awesome. It was awesome to see
Yeah.
those kids play that hard, you know. But me and him have always loved every fun. His father, God rest Mr. Rataj's soul, was a nut, man. He knew everything. He knew about every sport. They've had season tickets at Briggs Stadium, I think it's called Tigers, with the Lions.
My dad
Oh,
had
wow.
Lions season tickets for almost 50 years.
Yeah, and
Oh, wow.
he knew a lot about sports. My
Yeah.
dad grew up in Hamtramck. He was more of a factory worker, pipe fitter street.
So my dad grew up in Hamtramck.
Yeah.
With his dad,
Your
too,
dad-
as it turned out.
Yeah, but your dad he was more polished than my dad. he was more
Yeah.
polished. Yeah, so it was
Well, his dad taught me how to be tough.
yeah.
On the ice.
Yeah, I'm not near as tough as him. Yeah, listen, he got his law degree when he
Mhm.
graduated. My father was more proud of him because he had his own personal attorney than me.
Yeah.
You believe Rest's an attorney? Yeah. So,
Yeah,
him and my
no.
dad, they're two peas in a pod. That's a whole. You can have like a 6-week segment on that one. Yeah, I know they're fun. We had
Definitely.
we had a good life growing up. It's funny, like we get to talk about stuff like this or your youth, and we had a conversation the other morning, and it was always Mr. Marhefka, Mr. Blum, Mr. Rataj, all the fathers that didn't really know shit about hockey that helped teach us to be there. We went through all these dads, and you know what? It was 50 years ago, and these guys donated their time, and even if they didn't know, they cared and they gave a shit and they drove us. And they fed us. I used to bring a team up from Florida. I lived in Florida. I've been sober almost 19 years. The National Hockey
That's awesome.
sent me to treatment down there, and I used to bring a team up every year from Florida. And Rat was in our locker room at the city rink here, and I go, "Hey, this is my buddy." Blah blah. First thing he goes, "Hey kid, who bought those skates? How much are they?" Hey, thanks. So that's the same stuff. You can never say please, thank you, or I love you enough. We grew up in a whole different world.
Did you tell your
Yeah.
parents
Yeah.
thank them to pay your ice bill?
Yeah,
That's what I'm expecting. That you're wearing.
He never
Definitely.
met the kid. He never met the kid. He just reading his ass. But
Yeah.
we grew up with that respect level, and it was funny. A couple of days ago, we had a conversation about all these guys I haven't thought of in a long time. Mr. Riley, we had we both coached youth hockey for years and
Yeah.
years and years, and we can't even get like I said, this guy says, "Oh, how many players do you put?" It's not a contest how many people you have. You don't have to count or keep track. We know as long as we know who we helped and how we helped them, but you don't have to make it public knowledge. And
we did put a lot of guys into the NHL from our Little Caesars program.
Yeah,
we did.
Johnny Merrill's still there, but
Vinny Trocheck, I coached him. We coached Jeff Petrie.
Yeah.
We coached Big Oleksiak that plays for Seattle. A lot of guys that played college hockey. That was the main thing. We wanted them to go on to play college hockey.
Yeah. Now, speaking,
people say, that's a bad kid. It's not a bad. God didn't make bad kids. They made bad parents because they didn't teach their kids the respect, the work ethic, level.
Yeah.
The kid who's the bad kid, they need our help, and we have to bust their ass worse because they weren't getting it at home. And a lot of them, we've had a lot of players that came a long way just because we showed them a little bit of tough love. We showed them we love them. It went a long way.
Now you can't yell at the kids. Now you can't yell at the kids.
I mean,
asylum.
I
You know,
think, when you look at like making them do, the red line back, blue line back, far red line, like I think that's a little intense, but
Our coach made us do it. What do you
oh
mean?
yeah, no, I mean, but like
We had 2 days, Monday through
well, I
Fridays.
mean, doing it every day, that's a little something, but like,
We had 2 days, Monday
one
through
time
Friday.
we came
Great.
back from a road trip one time because when I was coaching Caesars, we were always gone every fucking weekend.
yeah,
Whatever. And then what we played horrible. I'll never forget this. I put a chair out at center ice, and I said, "I'm going to sit here and for the next hour, we're gonna fucking skate." And that's all we did.
that's
They all
awesome.
bitched. I said, "Keep crying, keep bitching. Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
go again. Go again."
I remember my last day of senior year, my buddy, we went to a Chinese market before he got a crab and threw out in the middle of the ice. Our coach got so mad we did suicides the entire time. We were thrown up by the end
Why
of
a
it.
crab?
I don't know. He was just trying to be funny, and
Oh, knock
yeah.
off on the wings?
yeah, I don't
At
maybe,
least get
but
octopus.
yeah, something like that. But Evan, you had a question for the brothers here.
Oh, so I would say, so Pop and I watched the Duel in the D a couple weeks ago. Beautiful, beautiful hockey. How has college hockey changed? Like, since you, like, would you say? I mean, there's been so much like resurgence of both Michigan State.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And is there a little teasing of you guys since John, you went to Michigan, and Mike, you went to Michigan State? Is there that kind of like, oh yeah, like, oh haha, Michigan won, yada yada yada?
Michigan didn't win.
Well,
You guys
like
are
in
blowing
other
the
sports,
brakes
but
off.
yeah,
My
you
friend
guys.
went to Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of our very best friends just passed away last week. Marty McLaughlin, our veterinarian buddy. And when I played against him at Michigan State, my coach Dan Farrell called him best penalty killer in the country. He got a head-on collision down in Kansas on a hunting
No.
trip. He was a couple years older than us. Passed
That was
away.
my buddy.
That was he was my coach before I met him. My coach in college called him the best penalty killer in the country, and uh, how that I'm going to tell you something right now. When I went to University of Michigan, I was a walk-on, and the coach called me in '79 to pay for my tuition. And my tuition for one term was $600. My sophomore year, it might as well have been $6 million. I jumped in my car, ready, so hey, mom and dad. Then the next year, he pays for my room and board. '79. We had three parts of a scholarship: books, tuition, room, board. My check to live for a month was $250. Rent was 50. I had 50 other things. So we had more money than we knew what to do with, and everybody had $5 for the Saturday night cake party after the game. How has it changed? And I'm going to shoot straight with you guys. I don't like where it's gone. I don't like these guys not finishing their degrees. It's turned, the big schools have turned into a farm team for National Hockey League teams. Agents are making deals with coaches. Here's 3 first rounders: BU, BC, Michigan. Nobody's finishing. Listen, I love Michigan, and I finished it. And I have to go there, and I won't mention any names. Dylan Larkin and these guys, Rorensky, which great hockey players. I got to go in there and see their pictures up all over the place, and they don't even got a degree from that place. So
Yeah.
has it changed? Yeah, you can't even compare what it's turned into.
Nobody did one and done in our.
No, it was always about degree and stuff, and Michigan, I didn't wear my ring. I had a Michigan ring, and the only way you got that ring if you graduated a Michigan hockey ring.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
yeah, it was a whole different dynamic of everything. So.
And the other
Yeah.
thing too is USA Hockey is fucking everything up too, and Baja. You're talking about the way the game's played. And John was talking about the kids look down at their phones all the time. The way they're teaching hockey now is you can't even finish checks. They want the defenseman to play the puck. We never taught a defenseman to play the puck. He plays chest. And you drive him into the boards. Now they don't teach. Now you can't even teach that.
Well,
Oh wow.
The big thing they did, the number one thing we've always taught kids, you got to know how to skate everything, but the number one thing to play the game correctly is play with your head up. Unfortunately, unfortunately, like 15 years ago, they took body checking out of squirts and peewees, and they started at 13.
Yeah.
Every kid, not everyone, I shouldn't say, they stare at the puck like this. There's no consequences when you have it. There's no consequence when you don't have it. So you don't really learn how to play the game. I see millionaires in the National Hockey League playing the puck on one-on-ones. You know, I was watching Pittsburgh. He put it through number 7 skates, these Jardins, like nothing. Yeah, defenseman put another to defenseman score to go. I'm in shock because he's staring at the puck. He's just got body up. So a lot's changed.
Definitely. And yeah,
Indeed.
and a lot has changed even in a short time for the Detroit Red Wings. I want to know your guys' opinion on kind of how the Iser plan in your mind is going. Do you think this team can make a deep run? And if so, like, what are our strengths going into this later half of the season? And then what are our weaknesses going into it?
Well, we stay with the alumni, or we used to. He still does. I used to.
Okay.
We got to be careful about that.
Definitely.
But don't. We're not big proponents of the Iser plan.
Okay.
I think the coaching change was good. I think it's 5.5 years too late. Lash is a good guy. Lalonde's a good guy, but nice guys finish last. Lalonde looks a little bit grizzled. He gets a little pissed off. He shows a little emotion.
Yeah.
He holds them a little accountable.
You mean McClellan?
McClellan, yeah. And Tortorella's doing a rebuild in Philly. He's the same way. Berube's in Toronto. All of a sudden, you know, they're a little more responsible defensively. You know, a team takes on the coach's personality.
Definitely.
I'm not going to badmouth the Red Wings, but here's what I tell people. They're the third oldest team in the league. You know that? They're the third oldest team in the league.
Original 6.
The third oldest team out of the 32 teams in the National Hockey League. They're the third oldest team. And they have a high payroll. The experience with the payroll, they should be in the playoffs. Okay?
Yeah.
That's my opinion. When you're paying that much money and you've got that experience, there's no reason not to make it.
Well, let me ask you boys this. How many years has Yzerman been the GM of the Red Wings?
I believe it's year 7 for him.
You tell me, Mr. Wings fan.
6, right?
6.
I'm the Leafs fan here.
6 or 7, yeah.
We made the playoffs yet?
6. This is year 6.
Year
we
6.
made the playoffs in the previous 5 years?
We have not. So it's about due time. I agree. I mean, I think it's one of those things that I think the coaching change has helped a lot. To your point, you know, John, I think there is a lot to be said. I like the way they're playing now. It's a lot more aggressive. It's like, you know, it's the simple phrase, play fucking hockey. And I love that kind of simpleness, like just do things right. I think when they got with Lalonde, I think it was a lot of like east to west, make things complicated. And I think McLennan's made it more simple, north-south. Let's get the puck in, puck out. And I think that's beautiful. And the way they've turned it around, I mean, both the Red Wings and Pistons are playing epic. You know, they got 2 games in Columbus, one in the Columbus's barn and the other at the Ohio Stadium.
They played tonight. They played Columbus here tonight.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's in Detroit. Yeah. My bad.
Yeah, Stadium Series is the weekend.
Yes. It's yes. What do you think it's going to be? What do you think the keys to tonight are for, and even Saturday for the Wings to kind of come out with a win confidently?
Tonight. The goaltender's got to be your best player.
Yeah.
You got to have good goaltending. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. I played for this guy, Harry Sinden, was our general manager. And he walked in the locker room, and he was all about work ethic and everything. And he said this to us. If you outwork and out-hit a team, you should win 80% of your games. You should go 8-2. You'll lose those 20% by a hot goalie, a bad referee call, or a bad bounce. But if you outwork and hit a team, and the biggest difference between Lalonde and this guy, they're just working hard. They're the same people. They're working hard. They got a little bit younger. They put some guys in, and he lets them play. But they're just working hard. It looks like I met Lalonde, I met Lash. They're good guys. They respect this guy. I saw a lack of respect for Blashill and for Lalonde because of the effort. You know why?
Why?
All right, to go to the game. When I was in that league, right? What do you do for work?
Yeah.
You got a job.
No, I'm in grad school right now.
All right. Say this was your job.
Okay.
All right. Say, what do you want to do when you're graduating?
Work in sales, marketing, or finance.
You're gonna be a salesman, right? And
Yeah.
am I coming to your office to watch you work? Am I gonna come and watch you work? Am I gonna pay to come and watch you work? No.
No. Yeah.
No. But when you're gonna go to LCA and watch those guys, you're taking your hard-earned money.
Yeah.
You're paying for it. You're paying to watch those guys work. And that was my biggest beef with that team, is because those guys were stealing money. They were stealing freaking money because they didn't put the effort in. If you put the effort in, you'll what? JJ Redick just said it with Los Angeles Lakers. You know, all of a sudden he figured it out. Oh, the NBA. Well, if you work teams that play, you're going to win. It's all about work ethic. They're working 10 times harder than they did with these last two guys.
That's awesome. And that's
they're just working harder, man. And they're playing
something
simple.
you can't teach.
He says it all the time. You get in trouble, top of the circle, bang it off the glass, you're out. Instead of turnover.
That's the way we learn how to play. That's the way we coach.
Yeah.
All the year, I told my D-man, if you can make a 10-foot pass, you have a chance to play in the National Hockey League. You know, and if it's not there, then God invented the glass.
Exactly.
Make one pass and play your one-on-ones, not get beat. You're going to make a lot of money. That's what it takes. One pass. Danny DeKaiser wasn't a physical guy, and he played 500 games in that league, and he played on horseshit hockey teams. He's a plus player in that league because he can defend a little bit, and he can make one pass. He wasn't physical, you know.
We've known Danny since he was a kid. In fact, my stepson played with Danny at Western.
Yeah.
So, and he was roommates with Danny.
He's a good kid.
Danny's a good kid.
Yeah. I laugh at it. I tell Danny, if you were on my team in my heyday, you would have made the All-Star game, because I would have told you, go do whatever you want. If somebody looks at you wrong, I'll kill them. But you would have had like a carte blanche out there. Go. I'll break up 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s, all that. Go have fun up there with the rest of those yo-yo heads. No, he's a great guy. I just kid around. Yeah, I kid around with him. I'm just having fun. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, on our end, that's all we have for today.
That's it. I thought you sent me a big script, dude. I mean,
do it again. Call us out again. That was fun.
Where's
Definitely.
Did you hit everything, Antonio?
Yeah, we got everything. Thank you guys for joining.
If you ever want to play golf, we're always in.
Yeah, we're always in.
So when are we gonna copy this? Are you gonna get
so it will be posted on YouTube, Spotify, and then links will be thrown up to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok if you have that. So we'll be everywhere. Follow us at Super Sports Bros. Clips on TikTok and Instagram, and then Facebook. Look up Super Sports Bros, and you should see this very logo.
I want to see this thing. Texted him how I could watch this at home.
We wanted to have a podcast, him and I, but real like spitting chiclets.
We're not.
Yeah.
We made a deal. We always talk about this. We told you guys the truth. We're not sugarcoating. We don't have to kiss anybody's ass. We told you guys exactly how we feel the truth.
We appreciate that.
And that's the best part.
Yeah.
But some guys don't. They don't tell the truth. Somebody's, tell the truth.
Well, thank you so much for joining. Appreciate it.
It was a blast.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that was fun.
We appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks, buddy.
All right.